or prelude for the uh, Kurukshetra battle, and what led to that war, and what was the uh, perplexity to which Arjuna was put in. Because we have seen Arjuna, he wanted to see the people who are assembled there to fight. So he requested Lord, the Supreme Lord Krishna, who was acting as his charioteer, to drive the chariot to appropriate position so that he could see who are all assembled there to fight. So when he was taken to the middle of the army, he could see on either side uh, many of his own relatives, gurus, and grandfathers, even uh, brothers, sons assembled there to fight. Fight means ready to kill each other. So on seeing this, uh, he got perplexed, unable to decide whether to fight or not to fight. So in that situation, uh, he giving so many of his own reasons. He said, I am not interested in this fight. I don't want to do this battle. So that is the uh, end of the last chapter. That means Arjuna was in a kind of uh, so sadness. So he is unable to decide, confused. So all these were the situation. Of course, Krishna is there, but still he has not started instructing Arjuna, because Arjuna is just only expressing his uh, state of mind. Mm. So in that context, we have seen the various other aspects also yesterday, but this was briefly the outcome. That means that if you take some one, if you have to define in one word or express in one word the situation, the first chapter, it ends up in lamentation of Arjuna. Arjuna is lamenting, uh, having to fight in such a war with his own kinsman. Now, the same lamentation uh, even continues in few more slokas into the second chapter. That is the connection between the second chapter of Bhagavad-gītā and the first chapter and the second chapter of Bhagavad-gītā. So here we also have seen yesterday, actually this discussion is going between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, who are sitting at Hastinapur. Hastinapura is present day Delhi. So where uh, King Dhritarashtra is inquiring from his secretary Sanjaya. The first chapter of Bhagavad-gītā started with the inquiry of uh, Dhritarashtra as to what is happening at Kurukshetra, where my sons and Pandu's sons are assembled ready to fight. In the second chapter, and of course, that is the inquiry of Dhritarashtra to Sanjaya, and that forms the beginning, and that rest of the Bhagavad-gītā is based on that one question. And then now Arjuna uh, is confused or baffled and unable to decide. Uh, he is in a kind of indecisiveness. So these are all reflected in his when he expresses his own situation, both physically and mentally. That's how the first chapter ends. In the second chapter, since Arjuna has dropped his bow and arrows and expressed his decision not to participate or not to fight, and now Sanjaya is second chapter starts with Sanjaya informing Dhritarashtra about this condition of Arjuna. Sanjaya uvacha tam tada kripaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshanam visidantam idam vakyam uvacha Madhusudana. So he is explaining to Dhritarashtra that this is the condition in which, and Arjuna, he dropped his arms and said he cannot fight. So, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, because we have seen yesterday what are the symptoms of a person whose mind is depressed or disturbed, and his eyes full of tears. Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. So, this when Sanjaya told this, and Dhritarashtra even thought a little bit happy. Oh, Arjuna is going to give up the war. Then maybe my sons will become the kings, or they will get the opportunity to rule. But that slight rays of hope is only just short-lived, because following which Bhagavan Krishna started speaking to Arjuna. Now, Arjuna's unwillingness to fight, and the various reasons he has given are based on ignorance. Ignorance, basically ignorance of his identity. We are also in the same situation. We are also ignorant of our true identity. So Krishna now, he in fact little bit chastises Arjuna, because he is speaking very wise words, or words of wisdom, but at the same time lamenting. So these both are not good, and for his position as a Kshatriya, as a king, not discharging his duty, these are all not liked by the Supreme Lord Krishna. So, in fact, he chastises him. My dear Arjuna, Kudastva kasmalam idam vishame samupastitam. Where from? How have these impurities? And Krishna calls all these, his whatever reasons he has given, and these are born out of impure mind, impurities. How have these impurities come upon you? And they are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. Like that, Krishna chastises Arjuna for having this position, taking this position of not fighting and not discharging his duty. So this is how the second chapter starts. But this second chapter, it starts with the chastisement of Arjuna by Krishna in the second sloka, and up to 10th sloka, Krishna has not started his instructions, because Arjuna is, though he has expressed his feelings and his state of mind and unwillingness to fight, he has not surrendered to Krishna. He has not asked Krishna to instruct him. So, therefore, this first 2.1 to 2.10, first 10 slokas, it is still Arjuna is fully not ready to surrender. So Krishna further continues in the first 6 slokas, and Arjuna gives his reason. O killer of enemies, Arjuna uvacha kadam bhishmam aham sankhye dronam cha Madhusudana. O Madhusudana, because he is calling Krishna as Madhusudana, that in the fourth sloka. How can I counterattack? How can I kill? How can I attack with my arrows in battle, men like Bhishma, who is my grandfather and a worshipable personality, and Drona, who is my own guru, teacher. So how I can attack them? How I can counterattack them? So this is the further reasons Arjuna gives for his decision not to fight. That is why he is calling Madhu. Uh, why he Arjuna addresses Lord as Madhu, Madhusudana. That means Madhu was a demon, and Lord Krishna killed that demon Asura uh, uh, in earlier times. So you have killed only your Asura enemy, but these people are not my enemies. They are my well-wishers. How can I counterattack them? So just to hint that Krishna, you have killed the enemies, but you are asking me to kill my own relatives and guru. Like that, he is hinting that to the Lord. So, and he is, because of these reasons, so he is indecisive. In fact, in the sixth sloka, he expresses that, nor do we know which is better, conquering them, that is, conquering the uh, Kurus, or being conquered by them, or losing the battle, eh, ourselves losing the battle. And he also says, if we kill them, if we killed all the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live, because we are there, we are all cousins and so close. If we kill them, then we may not have the interest to live. So yet they are standing before us on the battlefield. So they are so intimate and close, and still they are ready to fight in the battle. So therefore, because of this situation, I am totally confused. Karpanya dosa pakatta. Krishna Arjuna tells Karpanya dosa pakatta subhava. Because of this situation, my I am totally confused. Karpanya dosa. Karpanya means it is the kind of miserliness. Hmm. So I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of this miserly weakness. Hmm. So in this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. So in seventh sloka, uh, Arjuna is asking, or in a way, he surrenders to the Supreme Lord. Tell me what is best for me. I am confused. I have no uh, way to come out of this confusion. So now I am your disciple and soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. This is the very important point. So, what is the important point? Because Arjuna tells, Karpanya dosa pahata svabhava. I am confused about my duty, and when we are confused, then um, we cannot clear about what is to be done. So, and therefore, Arjuna has lost all his composure because of this miserly weakness. So, in this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. So, now I am your disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. This is very important. So, the situation is Arjuna is confused. So, therefore, he is indecisive. He is unable to decide what to do or what not to do. So, that is a situation. Yet, at the same time, he has chosen to surrender to the Supreme Lord. Of course, to Krishna. He is the Supreme Lord. Although he is his friend and he is his charioteer, he is also his relative in that. So, to the Supreme Lord, he surrenders, and this is very important. The Krishna is in knowledge, and Arjuna is in confusion. Uh, So this is the difference. So Krishna one who is in knowledge, he is in a superior position. That means he can serve as the guru, and he can occupy the position of guru. And the disciple, he is in indecision or confusion or ignorance. So he has to surrender to the person in knowledge or to the guru, if at all he wants to get his ignorance removed. Uh, So this is the situation. So indecision, what is the indecision? To follow or not to follow the duties. As a Kshatriya, as a king, he has got certain duties. One of the duties of the Kshatriya is he has several duties to protect his prajas or citizens, and another uh, taking care of the country and providing for everything for the prajas. At the same time, when the king is challenged internally or externally, then he has also to fight. So here, um, Arjuna is unable to follow. So he is not able to follow to fight or not to fight. And also he doesn't know which is better. Winning the battle, that means winning the battle means killing all the Kauravas and whoever is supporting them, all those people will be wiped out. And at the same time, maybe on Pandava's side, many of the people might also be killed. So this is the situation. So winning means losing means all his brothers and people on his side will be killed, and Duryodhana will become victorious. So this, which is better, this is he is unable to decide. So this is on a bigger scale. Maybe Arjuna is subjected to such a serious situation. We may not be in such a serious situation, but still similar situations can happen in a bigger or smaller scale in our own life. So if we are in such a situation, we lose our ability to uh, discriminate. In fact, uh, the ability to discriminate between right and wrong, hmm, uh, that is the prerogative of human beings. That is to decide to discriminate between right and wrong is the special prerogative of atmas who are living in the human form. Hmm. So, but due to attachment and other reasons, particularly due to attachment to our own bodies and extensions of our bodies, we lose this discrimination or discriminating power. So the life lesson is if we are attached, then we will not be able to discriminate between what is right action and what is wrong action. That is what is dharma and what is adharma. Um, why actually Dhritarashtra is also due to attachment, his attachment to his son Duryodhana. He has chosen a wrong path, and here Arjuna, due to similar attachment to, even though they are about to fight with him, still he expresses his attachment to them. So though they are foolishly wanting to fight, I do not want to fight with them. Like that he thought. But one important and good, uh, excellent thing is he has chosen to surrender to the Supreme Lord. So this is the positive side of the uh, his personality. So he surrendered, realizes that he is being weak. He understands his own shortcomings, and so he takes shelter of Bhagavan. And once he surrenders, expresses his inability to decide, then Krishna changes his position. Actually, the relationship up to this time was between a friend and friend, a relative. And here, from relative and friend, and the relationship has changed to one of Guru and Sishya. So Krishna has taken the position of Guru, and Arjuna has accepted his discipleship as a Sishya. So then only knowledge transfer can happen. So the Guru can give his wisdom, his knowledge to the disciple only if he surrenders to the Acharya, to the Guru. So Krishna, being the Supreme Lord, he is the source of everything. Isavasyam idam sarvam. Uh, so Krishna is the supreme source of everything. Uh, and whatever that exists, everything is the source. And he is the Bhoktara Megya Tapasam, Sarvaloka Maheswaram, Suvardam Sarva Bhutanam. So Krishna is the supreme proprietor, supreme controller, supreme enjoyer. So Arjuna has made a right decision to surrender to the Supreme Lord and ask for his help or his advice or suggestion, his guidance. So, at difficult decision-making situations, uh, one should consult a perfect authority. These things are normally we do in our daily, maybe in our even in our material life. So, if we do not know, suppose something about legal issue, we consult a good lawyer. If we do not know something about accounts, we consult the auditor. So like that, because they have possessed that specific knowledge in different areas. So like that, there are authorities on different subjects. When we are in dilemma, situation, confusion, indecisive, then we consult them how to file a income tax file or how to um, deal with a legal issue. So like that, we consult the authorities. So this is very natural. And in this situation is very more serious than what we are these examples. So Arjuna's situation is very serious because the battle is almost begun, and at that time he is expressing his indecision to fight, uh, indecisive condition. So, and he has rightly chosen to surrender to Krishna. So that is the his fortune. And Bhagavan means he possesses all the six opulences in unlimited unlimitedly. So this is the definition of the Supreme Lord. He possesses unlimited beauty, unlimited strength, unlimited knowledge, unlimited wealth, unlimited renunciation, and unlimited fame. So that is Bhagavan. Um, so same way, we also, because Krishna is having all these six opulences in infinite or unlimitedly, we are all being part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Krishna himself tells, Mama Vamsa Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So whatever good or good qualities we see in us, that is because we are sharing the qualities of the Supreme Lord. Because being a spark of the Supreme Lord, we also share some of his opulences. So the six opulences which is present in abundance in the Supreme Lord is present in us in a small way. So this is the beginning. Now, after Arjuna has surrendered and requested Krishna to uh, remove his ignorance and tell decisively what is good for him. So he is asking, please tell me what is good for me. Then from the 11th sloka of second chapter up to 39th sloka, Krishna, he gives actually the real jnana he is presenting in this nearly 20, 25 slokas. In fact, that part forms larger part of the knowledge Krishna gives to Arjuna. So the very in this jnana, Krishna gives the jnana with respect to the difference between Atma and uh, body or matter and spirit. So the first sloka actually in the 11th sloka only Krishna starts. While speaking learned words, you are mourning or lamenting for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So this is how it begins. But in the 13th sloka, Krishna tells eh, very clearly, Dehino yasmin yada dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tada dehandra prapti dhirastatra na muhyati. So the embodied soul, here he makes the Atma our real identity. Actually, Arjuna's confusion or indecision is born out of ignorance about his own identity. In fact, Arjuna represents all of us. We are also in the same situation. We are all thinking that we are these bodies. I think I am this body. So that is how I think I am this body. I belong to India. I belong to this state or this community. I am a man. Then we have so many forms of identities. So all these are all very wrong identities. So wrong identities that lead to all these kinds of confusion. And if the foundation itself is wrong, then the superstructure will also, everything will be wrong. Mudal konal mutrum konal. There is a saying in Tamil. Mudal konal mutrum konal. If the first principle itself is wrong in mathematics, suppose when we do some calculations, sometimes we have to make some assumptions in the beginning of the solution or this problem. If you make the first assumption itself is wrong, then the whole problem, whatever we worked out, will also be wrong. So the first uh, ignorance or first serious point of ignorance is Arjuna is ignorant about his real identity. And same way, we are also ignorant about real identity. So who am I? So we see our body as the self. We think we are the self consciously and unconsciously. We always think we are this body. And that is the reason for our repeated birth. That is the root cause for all our suffering in the material world. Uh, so, if that ignorance is removed, it is not just theoretically, practically, by in our way of life, handling, dealing with the life itself. If we come to the spiritual platform, coming out of the bodily consciousness, then one will be very, very happy and successful, peaceful, everything good will happen. So therefore, the most important point, because this is the crisis point for Arjuna. So Arjuna, Krishna, now he is not talking about his duty. Now he talks about Arjuna's identity. So he reminds Arjuna that you are not your body. Sometimes we talk, I have a soul, or actually we should not say I have a soul. No, we are that soul. So we are not this body. We are the soul. So now, right now, who is speaking? I, the soul is speaking. You, the soul is listening. Maybe the body is an instrument for speaking and hearing. So the real speaking is done by the Atma. Atma has got a form, personality, etc. So therefore, from in the second chapter, we understand we have uh, the self, that is the real person. Our real identity is we are Atma, spirit soul. And the nature of the spirit soul, Krishna explains in so many different ways. The soul is eternal. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be cut. It remains always. The soul, um, now presently, it occupies a body. And the body is actually the body is a covering. Like we are wearing some shirt. Like that, the soul is wearing this body like a shirt or like a dress. The soul, the body is actually a dress for the Atma. That dress, we have two types of dress. One is subtle body. The subtle body composed of mind, intelligence, and ego. And then we have the gross body. The subtler body is there. We can uh, experience, but we cannot see. We cannot see our mind. We cannot see our intelligence. We cannot see our ego, but we can see the presence of these three things by their uh, manifestation. Similarly, for example, when in a cable or current is flowing, we don't see the current flow, but when we switch on, we can see the light getting on or the fan start running. From that, the effect we can see the presence of electricity. Uh, so, though the current flow, the electron flow, we cannot see with our naked eye. Similarly, if we have a subtler body, for example, the mind, intelligence, ego. So from their working, for their manifestation, one can see we have these three things. These three things constitute the subtler body. And the gross body, which we are able to see, experience, that is made of the five elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. These five elements constitute the gross body. So like that, Arjuna, Krishna, first of all, enlightening Arjuna with respect to his true identity. Now, somebody may ask, what is the evidence? Okay, Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna tells that you are not this body, you are Atma. Actually, there no evidence is really needed uh, if because there is no other way to learn the science about the soul or about the Atma. But still, there are evidences with our own within the material world. One can gather uh, common sense understanding. Hmm? When somebody died, then we say he is gone. Actually, what is gone? That very body is still in the same place. What is gone is the soul. So this, whenever we visit some near somebody there in a deathbed, somebody died. When we go, the people are crying and then say he has gone, like that. So what is gone is the Atma is gone. And there are many books on the near death experiences and outer body experiences. Different people uh, experience this. Many doctors, researchers, psychologists have published hundreds of books on this subject. If you go to Google and type near death experience or outer body experience, you will get so many articles, hundreds of books available on this subject. I have a separate presentation on this. So these are all uh, proof to not a conclusive proof. It points to the understanding that is the soul, or the soul is the real identity, a real self. And many times we also talk about past life memories. Some people, they are very small child, but then they talk about their past life. That means some people, they have that remembrance, memory of the previous lives. So, uh, though we are suffering in this material world, so now we have understood we are not this body, we are Atma, but the material world is full of miseries. We should not try to uh, come out of this body by damaging or destroying the body. That is not the way to get out of this body. There is a process by practicing which we can once and for all get rid of the material body and the material existence as a whole. That is the whole purpose of Bhagavad-gītā. So ultimately, Krishna wants us to get out of this material existence, because as long as we are in this material world, we cannot avoid these miseries, because this material world is designed such meant only for giving us trouble. Dukalayam asaswadam. So we will not be able to avoid these miseries. So through technology, through science, through intelligence, we can try to minimize here and there, but we cannot totally eliminate or totally uh, remove miseries from the material world. That is for sure. So therefore, uh, we must follow the guidance given by the Supreme Lord, if at all we want to avoid these sufferings, miseries once for all. So if we simply follow Krishna's instruction, if then we can get out of this material existence once and for all. So then that way, in the first 30 slokas, um, Krishna is explaining or enlightening Arjuna as to his real identity. From this, we also understand that we are not this body, we are Atma. Hmm? And then uh, Krishna goes to the next level, that we all have uh, two kinds of duties or responsibilities. Now, the Atma, though the Atma rightfully belongs to the spiritual world, we are supposed to be in the Vaikuntha or Goloka with the Supreme Lord in our spiritual body, uh, live actually relating with the Supreme Lord. But by our own choice, maybe wrong choice, we are here at the present moment. We are in the material world, and that too in a human body. So since we occupy a human body and we have our spiritual nature, we have two kinds of duties. We cannot avoid the duty which um, for the corresponds to the body, and the duties of the soul. So the duty towards the body, because I have a human body, so I have a duty to be performed, many duties to be performed. And that one of the duties maybe taking care of the family, job, all these things, or we have assumed this duty that is called Sudharma. But the Sudharma can change. Now we are in a human body. Suppose the next birth, if we become an animal or something else, then all these will change. But as Atma, as soul, uh, we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and we are eternally related to Him. So we have a eternal duty to love and serve Krishna. Hmm. So that love and service of love and serving Krishna is expressed in the present situation through chanting Krishna's names. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This chanting of the holy name and reading Bhagavad-gītā and Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is our Nitya Dharma or Sanatana Dharma or eternal duty. So we have to love and serve Krishna. That cannot be removed from the Atma. So Atma is eternally servant of the Supreme Lord. That's what Lord Chaitanya actually, in this, Lord Krishna has appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about 500 years back, and he has given revealed this truth. Today, whatever the ISKCON we have this movement, it is started by the Supreme Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So Krishna, Lord Chaitanya has told, Jivara Swarupahaya, Krishna Nityada. So what is the real nature, Swarupa of the Jivatma? The real Swarupa of the Jivatma is to be, to serve, or to remain as an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Jivara Swarupahaya Krishnara Nityadas. So unfortunately, in our material world, in this life, we put lot of effort and energy to take care of our material body, and the Atma, the real spiritual, the personal, real person is ignored. So Prabhupada gives this analogy. If you have a golden cage, in it, within the golden cage, we have a parrot, and daily the house owner cleanses the cage very nicely, keeps it speck free, clean, but does not feed anything to the parrot inside. What will happen? The parrot or the soul will die soon. Same way, in the material world, we all take care of our bodies of our near and dear ones, but we fail to take care of the need of our atma, and the need of the atma, because our brothers, maybe sisters, son, daughter, everyone, they are all individual atma, and therefore uh, we have to take care of the need of the atma. What is the need of the atma? The atma will be happy only in relationship with the supreme lord. So when we develop this relationship, that's what here Krishna tells. Neha abhikramana so asti pratyavana vidyate solpam apyasya dharmasya rayate mahatto bhayat. In this endeavor, in this devotional service to Krishna, there is no loss. Even if we do very little towards expressing our love towards Krishna, whatever little we do, this will protect us uh, from the most dangerous type of fear. What is that most dangerous type of fear? The most dangerous type of fear is, after having attained the human form, falling back or falling down to animal form. Getting that is, it is not progress. It is we sliding down or gliding down. It is a very steep fall. So uh, anyone who has done little seva, service, love and service to Krishna, he will be protected from having to take another body as an animal or lower forms. So human form is the perfect situation to solve our life's problem. Life's problem is the cycle of birth and death, and plus all the miseries during the life. So if at all we want to get out of this material existence and all the miseries of life once and for all, then we have to uh, perform our uh, Nitya Dharma, or that is the eternal duty, or Sanatana Dharma. Not just doing only Swadharma. I am a human body. Maybe in this now I am a teacher, or some professional or businessman. I have a family. I have, if we spend all 100% of our time only in maintaining this, and neglecting our duty towards our self, then we are wasting the time. Therefore, uh, the wise people, and those who are in knowledge, they must have a proper balance between the two. That means we should discharge our Swadharma and not forgetting our Sanatana Dharma. So Sanatana Dharma, many people they talk about Varnashrama Dharma as the Sanatana Dharma. No, that is not the Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is the Dharma of the Atma. The Atma has a duty towards Krishna, the Supreme Lord, and that means trying to develop our love for God, love for Krishna, and in that loving mood, carrying out, rendering some service to Krishna, that is the real Dharma. Even when we get back to the spiritual world, when we go to Vaikunta, go to Goloka, there we will continue our love and service to the Supreme Lord. So here we are practicing, maybe by chance we have fallen into this, and by practicing this, we must get back to the spiritual world. That's what Krishna wants. So then Krishna also talks about in the later chapters, later slokas, uh, to reach that level of spiritual consciousness, we also need to uh, control or regulate our senses. That means too much indulgence in the sense enjoyment is a kind of obstacle for the spiritual growth. So, but how to come out of this, how to get out of this, because we have been indulging in sense gratification for many, many lives. So, by practice only, we can get out of this. So, if we perform these two duties, Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma, in a balanced way, uh, not neglecting one another. So, both we one should have a balance. Then with the determination and enthusiasm, if we perform these duties, then even in the material life, one will be peaceful and happy. And after completing this life, one will go back to the spiritual world. So, what is the really the missing link? Though we have all that science, technology, so much wealth, facilities, but still people do not experience the higher taste or higher consciousness. So that missing link is the higher knowledge. Higher taste comes from higher knowledge. So that higher knowledge, Raja Vidya, is available in Bhagavad-gītā. And that is the missing link. So people are there, Bhagavad-gītā is there, but people are not taking to Bhagavad-gītā. If they read Bhagavad-gītā, and not any Bhagavad-gītā, Bhagavad-gītā given by Srila Prabhupada, he is the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And then from this knowledge which comes through the Guru Parampara, and then one will be able to attain higher consciousness, higher happiness. So, like this, Krishna further talks about uh, the sense control, and also then Krishna talks about the 62nd sloka, Dhyayato Visayan Pumsaka Sanga Tejupajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kama Krodha Vijayate. So from anger, it is a two slokas, how the attachment, because he talks about sense attachment to sense enjoyment, and how that degrades our consciousness. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment to the object, for the sense object. And from such attachment develops kama. Sanjayate, sanga sanjayate kama. Kama develops. From such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. Because unfulfilled desires, lusty desires, lead to anger. And from anger, a person who is in angry mood, who is in anger, he will be subjected to delusion. So from anger, complete delusion arises. That means his intelligence does not work. From delusion, bewilderment of memory. So he loses his memory discriminatory power. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So this is the kind of order in which the degradation occurs. This itself is a big subject for discussion for several hours. So any damaging thoughts, negative thoughts, it will be degrading. So beware of damaging thoughts, as it gets converted into cruel plans. First in our mind, it occurs as a thought, and then it manifests as a plan. And only when we have such plans, then it ends up in action. And that action, if it becomes regrettable action, many times we commit action quickly and keep on regretting for months and years, maybe days, for long period of time, we will be regretting our action. So that uh, uh, it should not be this way. We should not act this way. So therefore, um, we have to have proper knowledge of the self, and of every action we should think before. Hmm? So while performing these two duties, uh, balancing these two duties, and then free from dualities. So free from dualities means um, good, bad, success, failure, right, wrong. All these are dualities of the material world. And we must perform these two duties in a mood of uh, freedom from dualities, not expecting anything, because Krishna also talks about karmanyeva adhikaraste. So these are all very many things we can learn in the second chapter. It is actually this second chapter is contents of the Gita summarized. The entire Gita, all the concepts are discussed in this chapter. And then by giving up the bad qualities, and accepting Krishna consciousness, we can attain peaceful and joyful existence. So in the second chapter, we have seen all these items. First, Arjuna is in a very critical mood, a critical situation, unable to decide what is good or what is bad for him. In that condition, he expresses his inability to decide and surrender to Krishna. That we have seen. And the whole of the second chapter, nearly 30 slokas, Krishna talks about our real identity. From this chapter, we come to know we are not this body, we are Atma, and all the characteristic of the Atma is also given. Though since it is a overview, we are not gone into the detail of all those. Then when we study individual chapters, sloka by sloka, then one can understand lot many uh, points or lot many things about the Atma, about the subtler body, the working of the gross body. The working of the subtler body is very, very intricate. How the mind works, how intelligence works, how false ego works. These are all very deep subject. So the composition of our real self. So now we are with the body and the soul together. So we have a composition. That composition is Atma, is the owner of the body. Because once the Atma leaves, the body does not function. So Atma is the person. Atma, soul is the person. Soul is our real, we the soul. So, and we have a subtler body, and we also have a gross body. This is our composition right now. And but the process is how to extricate ourselves out of this both gross and subtler body, and that is possible only through devotional service. That will be discussed in the later chapters of Bhagavad-gītā. So presently, this is our composition. We have a gross body and the subtler body and our own self. We live in this body, and because we have got a human form, and a human form has got certain duties. Maybe somebody is a man, somebody is a woman. Both are spiritually they are all same, but because we occupy different types of bodies, the human has got man has got certain responsibilities. Mataji's women have got certain responsibilities, And that also, if you are a student, responsibility is different. Teacher has some responsibilities. Accordingly, the position and the body and the position, we have different duties. That is called the Sodharma. And but as Atma, that duty never changes. Whether take a human body or animal body, any body in the Atma occupies. Maybe because when we occupy a lower body, we cannot carry out the duty of the soul. But when once when get a human body, then we will be able to understand, realize, and carry out the duty towards the soul. Actually, the duty towards the Lord. The soul has got a duty towards the Lord, the duty to be executed by the Atma. So these things are also discussed. And then to have a sustained happiness, we should develop higher taste. So higher taste comes from higher knowledge, and higher knowledge is available in Bhagavad-gītā. Then once a person understands from the Acharya, from the Guru, the higher knowledge available in the Bhagavad-gītā, then he will be experiencing higher taste. Not only knowledge, and also along with the knowledge and practices, devotional service, devotional practices, both knowledge and the devotional service together, it brings higher taste. And if we fail to do, and if we follow the materialistic way of life and the 8 steps, starting from the kama, unfulfilled desire, and getting anger, losing the intelligence, and then it leads to failure. So we should not follow these 8 steps of failure path. We should follow the path of jnana given in Bhagavad-gītā and attain higher taste. And the higher taste is Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. And at this point, Krishna completed his instructions, but Arjuna has got certain doubt. And from that, the third chapter starts, because Arjuna, though Krishna has given so many instructions, something Arjuna has understood, some point he has not understood. So he raises a doubt in the third chapter, and then it continues further instructions. So in the second chapter, what we have seen is these four important themes we have in an overview we have discussed. So I will stop here. I think it's almost time, little exceeded the time also. Participants, if you have any doubts or queries, you can ask. Maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions, if at all you have questions. Yes, Prabhu, Raja Prabhu, do the participants, do they have any questions?
Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. We can take 2 questions. Yes, Prabhuji. Participants, I request you to raise your hands. I will unmute you. Okay.
Gayatri Mataji has some question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I have a doubt that why did Arjuna didn't attend spiritual world?
No, that we will see later, because Arjuna is always in the spiritual world. This Puranas, that he has only attained Golo, I mean, the Swargaloka, these are not points. What the subject, what we have discussed now, that is any doubt in this we will discuss. Arjuna is always with Krishna in the Goloka.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
And okay. I think, Prabhuji, nobody raised their hands.
Yeah.
Shall we wait for 1 minute? If anybody is typing in the chat, we will receive the chat.
Go ahead.
Just for 1 minute, we will wait and wait for a participant to type if they have any questions. We are having two questions. Two participants have raised hand. I will unmute Jyoti V. Mataji. You can ask your question. Mataji, kindly unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you so much for this beautiful summary of the chapter 2. Prabhuji, in the slides you had mentioned that we have two duties to perform. One is towards the our material duties and the spiritual duties, and the balance.
Balancing the both.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Can you please elaborate on that? Because and then attachment, the cause of misery is attachment. So while performing the two duties, how not to
Actually,
be
the
attached?
Swadharma, everyone is performing their Swadharma. Some people even fail to perform their Swadharma. Swadharma means um, now we have a human form and some social positions. And according to that position, we have some responsibilities in the family, in the office, etc. That we are naturally doing. What I find is generally this takes lot of time and effort, and our priority is fixed towards performing the uh, this swadharma. In English, it is called as conditional duties. Conditional duties means because we are conditioned to have a human form, and that so according to the social position, we perform the duties assigned or assumed for that particular position. So conditional duty everyone is generally performing, but what is ignored or left out is the constitutional duty, and that is called the Sanatana Dharma. Atma, as a uh, particle or part and parcel of Krishna, it has got a bounden duty towards the Supreme Lord. And this duty cannot be, uh, we cannot, what should I say? These duties cannot be avoided. This duty is, if you do not do, it still remains as a duty. Prabhupada says this, for example, uh, the Sanatana Dharma of water. Water, if you take a substance water, it has got certain qualities. If you take fire, it has got certain qualities. So even material objects has got certain qualities which cannot be separated from the object. So fire means it gives light and heat. So we cannot separate heat and light from fire. We cannot have a fire without heat and light. Similarly, the Atma, uh, it has got inseparable quality of loving and serving. So we cannot have an Atma without the quality of loving and quality of serving. So this quality is inseparable from the Atma. Actually, this love and service is to be supposed to be directed towards the Supreme Lord. That is called the Sanatana Dharma, eternal duty. But that duty we are experiencing or exhibiting in our present life by expressing or showing our love and affection and service to our um, extensions of our bodies, maybe to our father, mother, brother, sister, our own, like that. But it is nothing wrong to extend our love service to our near and dear ones, but that it is not complete, because we are whatever in the present life we share our love and service with one set of people, then we die or they die, so we get separated, and the love and service get also stopped with that. Then we get into another situation, maybe in another birth. Again we have expressed manifest these things. So this is happening not only in the human form, even in animal form. Even animal also have their own children, family. They express their love and service. But really, this love and service is to be directed towards the Supreme Lord Krishna. Then it is complete. Then we do not have to be part of this material existence all the time, changing our position, bodies, and continuously suffering, undergoing various kinds of miseries. All these can be stopped once and for all if we direct our love and service to Krishna. That does not mean we should not love our presently with others. That it is a natural propensity. We cannot be without that. But the actual thing is we are supposed to understand, develop love and serve God. The whole purpose of the Vedic scriptures, any scripture for that matter, is to, Krishna Prabhupada used to say, to develop love for God. That is the whole purpose of any scripture, the Vedas or the Quran or Bible, anything. The ultimate goal is to develop love for God.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we are having like two more questions. Can we take? One is in the chat and another participant have raised the hand.
Okay.
Last two. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Subhangi Mataji, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, this question is from my daughter. I am not able to explain her completely, so I am asking here. She asked me when the person dies, where his soul goes.
Actually, this point is discussed in the further chapters. Anyway, since he has raised the point, our next destination, it depends on our consciousness at the time of leaving the body. So if our consciousness is materially, then we will get maybe another human body, or within the material world, some body we will get, and again take birth and continue. If we develop higher consciousness, if we think of Krishna at the time of death, then we will go back to the spiritual world. So like that, Krishna tells these things are there. We will be seeing in the future chapters. This point is Krishna elaborately discusses this point. Yeah. So we have two residents in the material world and the spiritual world. We can continue to live in the material world taking different bodies, or once and for all we can quit this material world and go back to the spiritual world in our spiritual form as a Atma in the spiritual body, and then we can live there eternally. So this is our choice. So if we choose the spiritual path, the devotional service to Krishna, then we are making our progress towards getting out of this material world.
And Prabhuji, there is one question in the chat which says, could you please explain 8 steps of failure? From Kashma Mataji, 8 steps of failure. Prabhuji, can you explain, please?
The 8 steps of failure, it is given in Bhagavad-gītā, 2 slokas, text number 62 and 63. Now, if you read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gītā in these 2 slokas, Krishna explains these 8 steps. First of all, we contemplate about some sense objects. And the contemplation, it happens at the mind level. Suppose contemplation means, say, we want to go for a picnic or something. Even before going to the place physically, we contemplate. In our mind already we are there. So that kind of capability, mind can travel distances, it can go into the past, it can go into the future. All these can be done or possible by the mind. Mind's capability is contemplation is one of the functioning of the mind. Thinking, feeling, willing, and these are all the natural functions of the mind. So many things we contemplate. If the contemplation is about sense enjoyment, so while contemplating the objects of the senses, maybe this is the basic function. It can be for the good or bad, but this is the function. Then a person develops attachment for them. Then once we develop attachment, then that leads to lust. And if the lusty desires are not fulfilled, then it leads to anger. And once we are in anger, then we get deluded. Delusion means what is right, what is wrong, and completely in a foolish situation. And from that delusion, we are bewildered. Bewilderment of memory. And the memory, when it is lost, intelligence is lost. Intelligence does not function. And when once intelligence is lost, then that's all gone. Then we fall down again into the material life. So this is the 8 steps of degradation or failing. In any sinful activity, we can trace these 8 things. If whenever some sinful activity is committed, any crime is committed, if we analyze what led to this crime or this, then we can trace this will be present. So this is the stage in which the 8 steps in which the degradation occurs. Hare Krishna. So if you read Bhagavad-gītā 2nd chapter 62 and 63 slokas and Srila Prabhupada's purport, you will get more understanding of this point, because this is not unconnected or independent slokas. These are all connected to the previous some 10 slokas where Krishna is talking about sense control for those who want to advance in the spiritual life. What is the importance of sense control? Those things are Krishna is discussing. As a continuation, the 62nd and 63rd sloka, he talks about the excessive attachment to sense objects lead to lust and finally loss of intelligence and falling down. So we do not want to fall down. We want to get back to the spiritual world. So if we stick to the principles of Krishna consciousness, we will never be falling down.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So, can we end the session, Prabhuji?
Yeah, we can end the session.
Okay. Thank you very much for all the participants. And we will meet tomorrow again at the same time, 6 a.m. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for participating in this session, to all the participants. And thank you, Raja Prabhu, for nicely hosting the program. Thank you for your help. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare.